inside Assembly Hall and get set for some heated basketball. Golbe and Edwards to tip it off, and Kentucky will control the ball first. You see Rhyne Howard there, number 10. She can play 1 through 5, and they've used her a lot at the point already in their 2 games.
And you look at who they have guarding Rhyne Howard. It's a smaller player, but Nikki Perdomo-Hillary, who has been a pest on defense.
Dre'Una Edwards, a couple of shots won't go in. Treasure Hunt with the rebound under the basket and draws the foul. That foul's going to be on Alexa Golbe. Indiana does have some size inside and a little more depth down low than Kentucky does.
When you have Mackenzie Holmes and Alexa Golbe, that's 6'3" and 6'5" underneath that are true post players. Right now on the court for Kentucky, none of those players are true post players.
Treasure Hunt gets the first. And there's Teri Morin in her 8th season, took this team to their first Elite 8 appearance last season, 6 straight 21 seasons at Indiana. And they picked up an Indiana record of 16 wins in Big Ten action last year. You see the starting 5, not much has changed. They've got, you talk about a veteran, number 14, Ali Patberg. She is a veteran, 7th year in college.
She's 25 years old. Talk about having maturity on your team. Ali Patberg is the epitome of that.
Foul was called on Jasmine Massengill. Patberg is like 85 years old in college basketball years.
We talk about Sophia on the Golden Girls.
Yeah. There's Grace Berger with the ball, number 34 in white for Indiana. Driving in, no bucket, and they're going to get Rhyne Howard on the foul.
This is a tough assignment for Rhyne Howard because Rhyne Howard has to play careful. Kentucky needs her on the floor, but Grace Berger for Indiana is going to handle the ball a lot.
Patberg will come and get it in the corner. Berger going after Howard again. Howard looks up ahead to Robin Benton. And Benton draws the foul. Kentucky's had some good looks at the basket, haven't finished.
Well, Kyra Elzy told us in shoot-around today, the thing that they want to do is they want to get quick strikes, quick points, but they most importantly want to get to the free throw line. And how do you do that? You've got to attack the basket.
And Kyra Elzy in her 2nd season as Kentucky's head coach. She took over in an interim role at the start of last year when Matthew Mitchell decided to retire, and then in December she was officially named the head coach at Kentucky. Had already been an assistant for a long time with the Wildcats.
Well, she is at Kentucky, born and bred, and she knows this program inside out. Really helped Matthew Mitchell bring a lot of the great players that have come to Kentucky into Lexington.
Mackenzie Holmes at the top of the key. Back out to Patberg.
Kentucky sticking with this stingy man-to-man defense.
Patberg on the baseline, throws it away. Dre'Una Edwards, look at her go! Misses the layup. Rhyne Howard helping her out in Kentucky. Couple points.
First 2 games that I have watched of Kentucky, Dre Edwards has been one of the best players on the court. She lost her shoe. Indiana pushing in transition.
Rhyne Howard trying to give her teammates some time to put her shoe back on.
Watch Perdomo-Hillary at the point. She came here as a scorer from George Mason, but she is a pesky defender.
Yeah, that's number 4 in white for Indiana. 6 seconds for the Cats. Massengill at the Big Ten logo short. And that should be a travel, yeah, on Treasure Hunt.
Treasure Hunt has made the transformation from a guard, she played a guard her whole career, to now having to play the post because of lack of post players for Kentucky.
Yeah, Blair Green out for the season with an Achilles injury. She was playing the 4 for them, so that changed a lot of things up. Kentucky with a very short bench, only about 8 players. Oh, pretty move, but bounces out for Ali Patberg. travel on Rhyne Howard.
I don't know about that. I didn't see a travel.
I thought she just stepped back with the ball.
She's just so tricky. I think she tricked the officials. She was still dribbling, 1-2, right into her shot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't have seen that as a travel.
Mackenzie Holmes with range.
Holmes was the #1 player that Kentucky talked about at shoot-around with her size and length, and said if you get caught behind her, Kentucky wants to front her, but if you get caught behind, you got to push her out of the paint.
They got to be careful, though. They can't get into foul trouble. Dre'Una Edwards rolling to the basket.
It's amazing what conditioning can do for a player. She is light on her feet, Dre Edwards.
Papper to Mackenzie Holmes. Great vision. Howard up top to Robin Benton. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Massengill trying to get some help with a screen. And they call an illegal screen on Treasure Hunt. Her first foul.
What Indiana is doing is they're attacking the paint. And when they attack the paint, they're attracting 2 defenders. That's allowing Mackenzie Holmes to have freedom to roam on that baseline.
Mackenzie Holmes has all 6 points right now from Indiana. They give her the ball again, this time further away from the basket as Olivia Owens is checked in for Kentucky. Doesn't matter. Holmes right over her.
Holmes is the returning leading scorer and rebounder for Indiana.
Still has all of their points. Owens calling for the basketball. Gets blocked. Mackenzie Holmes, it's her show. Cardano Hillary will pull things back around. She's a deep threat too. My goodness! There's her brother Cam in the stands watching. You think she's ready to be back in front of a crowd? Indiana has won 15 straight home openers, trying to keep that going. Howard, the turnaround. Grace Berger. And they get a foul on Olivia Owens. Mackenzie Holmes.
Indiana in control right now. The big girl. The deny by Mackenzie Holmes. And then Holmes again. Hey, the big girl can knock it down from deep.
Seven straight points for Indiana. And guess what, Carolyn Peck? It's coming from the big girl, Mackenzie Holmes.
Mackenzie Holmes has had a phenomenal start. Now, look, when you have a big girl that is shooting, she's perfect from the floor today. She's 5 for 5, and one of those is a 3. She's doing it all over the court.
And Indiana's going to keep the ball as they throw it out of bounds off of Kentucky. Grace Berger will inbound. This is just the second game of the season for Indiana. They played Butler a few days ago and won 86-63. Kentucky's got 2 games under its belt.
Well, Mackenzie Holmes was really frustrated with how she had played at Butler because they were collapsing inside.
Well, Indiana's got the size advantage today down low.
Well, and what Indiana has done is they've spread the floor, and then when they attack the paint, they're making the help rotate over, and that creates opportunities for Mackenzie Holmes.
So Mackenzie Holmes will get a much-deserved breather. She has all 11 of Indiana's points. Keandra Brown checks in, number 23 in white for Indiana. Berger, free throw line. Rebound by Brown, right over Ryan Howard.
Indiana's going to be a problem for teams this year when you've got your bench that can come in and contribute. You have Keandra Holmes. She played in pain last year. She has had hip surgery, and she's back full strength now.
Great rebound, Chloe Moore McNeil. Back up to Berger.
Indiana now going to some of their motion. Really freedom. Terry Moore likes this.
Berger's shot won't fall. Edwards comes out with it. The kick to Massengill. And Brown steps up and takes a charge.
That's what Brown brings to the court. She is that player that will make the big defensive plays and able to rotate over and get the right spot. She was there.
And fouls on Edwards of Kentucky. Want to remind you, college basketball continues Tuesday night with 2 compelling early season games. These are on ESPN. 8 p.m. it's Virginia and Houston. Then at 10 p.m. we head to the Phil Knight Classic in Portland. BYU against the Ducks. Both games also available on the ESPN app. Grace Berger on the baseline. And Indiana has gotten off to a hot start, a 9-0 run right now for the Hoosiers. And it's something, if you're Kentucky, you have struggled with slow starts in your first 2 games.
And I talked to Ryan Howard and Drowna Edwards about that, and they said, well, it was the level of our competition. They said they were just messing around with them. Look, when you're preparing for the SEC, you're preparing to play the team, the Big Ten, that's playing the way Indiana is right now. You can't practice bad habits and getting off to slow starts.
Alexa Gulbey with the bucket. Massengill in trouble, tries to throw it up to the freshman Jada Walker. The lone freshman on Kentucky's roster. She loves to drive the ball.
And she is a player that comes on the floor and makes something happen. She goes full speed, and this little freshman, she ain't afraid of nothing.
Look at her, get in there and take the basketball. Jada Walker up against Gulbey. It's gonna stay with Kentucky.
Jada Walker knows that Kentucky needs a punch. So what does she do? She turns up the heat defensively, and then she is off to the races.
Howard on the block. 4 points now for Ryan Howard.
Now remember last year, Indiana got off to a great start. First quarter it was 21-12, advantage the Hoosiers.
And Ryan Howard moved into 6th all-time in points. Passes Macy Morris. At Kentucky. Allie Patberg. Look at the reaction.
She just shrugged. She was like, that's what I do.
You see Howard now. 1694 career points. She's got the basketball. Inside to Owens.
We talked to Allie Patberg this morning, and she remembered the game last year against Kentucky. And I mean, she got emotional talking about it, and she took ownership because she sees herself as a leader, and she felt like she let her team down.
And what an ending. Texas and Stanford. We've got some more great top 25 basketball for you. Courtney Lyle and Carolyn Peck. We are in Bloomington, Indiana for the rematch. Kentucky and Indiana. These two teams met last year, Carolyn. And Indiana thought they had it until the 4th quarter.
In the 4th quarter, Ryan Howard, really in the 3rd quarter, Ryan Howard got turned up, and then the help of Robin Benton and Drowna Edwards came along. And now that Jada Walker, a freshman, has come in the game, she has really switched the momentum to the Wildcats.
If you're watching this game over on ESPN News, be sure to tune over to ESPN for the rest of Kentucky and Indiana. That's where we'll stay for the conclusion of this one. And there's a foul on Chloe Moore McNeil of Indiana. Man, it was the bigs. It was Mackenzie Holmes coming out in this game and scoring the first 11 points for Indiana.
Holmes is perfect from the floor right now. 5 for 5, and one of those shots was a 3.
They're glad they're on defense right now so you didn't just jinx her. Treasure Hunt to the basket. And Holmes back in. She's number 54 in white. Shot clock is off. Indiana can just work, and Nicole Cardano-Hillary will come get the ball for the Hoosiers. Cardano-Hillary lit it up, 29 points in their last game. Inside to Holmes. Still perfect. Mackenzie Holmes, 6 for 6.
She was the go-to for the Indiana Hoosiers. 6'3", sweet touch, inside and out. She's been a problem for the Kentucky Wildcats.
Top of the table, but that brilliant drive from 20th to 5th in
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the Walt Disney World Resort 50th Anniversary Celebration.
Flips it out. Kune, 2 seconds, misses. That's it. Indiana, for the very first time, is headed to the Elite Eight.
History made last season for this Indiana Hoosier team. They took down a #1 seed, NC State, 73-70 in the Sweet 16 to make it to the Elite Eight. All 5 starters in that game had double figures. Ali Patberg had 17 points, but we asked Ali Patberg, as she gets the bucket there, we asked her, what did that teach you? Her answer, we can play with anybody.
She said that really it was convincing that they are among the elite teams. When you can make it to the Elite Eight, you can play with anybody, and everybody has to respect your game.
Come out this season and get their highest AP rank in program history. They return all 5 starters. And by the way, Nicole Cardano-Hillary had a cool 29 points in their first game of the season a couple days ago.
You do know that she is George Mason's all-time leading scorer, and she only played there for 3 seasons.
I did know that.
I knew you did.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Absolutely. But she has really been brought to Indiana to run the offense, not necessarily be that key scoring threat, and to be just on every top guard defensively.
Jada Walker to the bucket. Important to note, Kentucky's Dre Edwards did pick up her 2nd foul. Kentucky cannot afford to get into foul trouble. They only have about 8 players.
And we talked about this before the game, that Dre Edwards has got to stay on the floor. She not only is an offensive threat, but defensively, and she helps the team push in transition.
There's a traveling violation on Mackenzie Holmes.
I called it travel, but it was pretty.
Kevin Warren also in the house, the Big Ten commissioner. He's been making the rounds to all the Big Ten schools, and why not come see a history-making basketball team in Indiana?
Well, and with this team, the mission that they are on, I'm talking to Terry Morin, and I said, how did you feel before that NC State game in the Sweet 16? She said, I felt like we had good juice. That's a term she likes to use. But when they ran into Arizona, because her starters had to play so many minutes, she said, we just ran out of juice. They've got more depth this year. This makes this Indiana team that much more dangerous.
Mackenzie Holmes is going to pick up her 2nd foul. Terry Morin in her 8th season at Indiana. They also had an Indiana record, 16 wins in Big Ten play last year, finished 2nd. They were picked to finish 2nd this year in the conference behind Maryland.
And that doesn't set well with Terry Morin picked 2nd.
Oh, yeah?
They want to go after a Big Ten championship.
And we mentioned the short bench for Kentucky. Blair Green tore her Achilles October 30th. She is out for the season. You see the other ones they've lost. Nia Levereder also on the team, but unavailable with a non-COVID related illness. They do expect to get her back.
Yeah, there's a timetable. They're hoping to have Levereder back by conference play.
Olivia Owens with the block of Grace Berger.
Owens run the floor. It's the best I have seen her.
Step back from Howard. Yes.
Oh, she gave the little shush sign.
Well, there's some fans talking over here. Did you hear? Ryan Howard, a preseason All-American, was a first-team All-American last season, a two-time SEC Player of the Year.
This is the type of game where Ryan Howard can step her game up, and she loves it when the fans are talking. She likes to give them the signal of shh, shh, settle down, simmer.
Berger swings it back to Pat Berg. Brown on the wing. Howard crashing the boards.
Grace Berger yet to score yet. It's going to be important for Indiana for Berger to get involved in the offense, especially with Holmes on the bench.
Yeah, she had 18 points in their season opener against Butler, averaged 15 last year. Robin Benton stuffed Golbey.
That's 6'5". Robin Benton's got to make a better decision than that.
A lane for Grace Berger, and the foul!
What did I just say was going to be Grace Berger that needed to get involved offensively after the great block by Golbey, then the drive by Grace Berger. Here comes number 34.
So that foul is on Olivia Owens, her second. So Kentucky in some trouble here. Dreana Edwards with 2 fouls on the bench, and Olivia Owens with 2 fouls on the floor.
Well, I wonder how long it'll take Kentucky to make the decision. Do they go try to use some of their zone defense?
Jada Walker. She's like a spark plug. Brown got tripped up for just a second. Well, Tuesday brings you the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25. Reese and the guys will break it all down from top to bottom, have coaches' reactions, as well as a live interview with the committee chair, Gary Barta, at 7 p.m. on ESPN and the ESPN app. One tap.
You do football, Courtney.
Well, Cincinnati was number 5 last week, and they got a win over USF. Everybody's talking about style points. Is that a real thing? I think it was a pretty solid win against USF.
So you think that they should be in right now?
I think they should. They're undefeated.
But they still have to play Houston.
They do, and it looks like they would meet. Houston has already punched its ticket to the American Conference Championship game with their win yesterday over Temple. And Houston is also undefeated in conference play, so don't count out the Cougs.
That might change the conversation.
Things might get a little, shall we say, spicy.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
It's coming.
Now Kentucky bringing that 1-2-2 zone press, 3-quarter court. And this is what Kentucky does. Their defense turn you over, try to get the situation to steal score.
No foul called, but Kentucky will keep the basketball. Talking to Kyra Elzy before this game at shoot-around, they were going to change their defenses up and keep Indiana guessing what was coming next.
Well, you have to, because if you allow Indiana to get into a rhythm and especially get their mojo working when they're running that motion offense, everybody can get involved.
Jada Walker.
Freshman? Doesn't play like it.
Doesn't play like it. 9 points already for Jada Walker. She had 13 in their last game. Berger's shot is off. Rebound to Howard. Massengill.
That was right in stride, and Kyra Elzy wants Jasmine Massengale to take more shots.
Ties up the game. Offensive foul on Cardano Hillary. That's her first.
Jada Walker moves her feet. This kid plays defense like she wants to play defense. She gets there. Draws the offensive foul.
If you don't want to play defense, you shouldn't go to Kentucky.
That's true.
She knew what she signed up for. Ten seconds on the shot clock. Howard on the wing. Here comes Packberg. Remember, Mackenzie Holmes has been their spark plug, but she's on the bench with 2 fouls. Gourbet. Oh, great. Wow.
As long as Indiana can move the ball from side to side, making the Kentucky defense shift, they're going to get those openings on the backside.
There's Treasure Hunt. That's a foul on Ryan Howard, her second.
Kentucky got back in this ball game on the back of a freshman, Jada Walker. But to keep the lead, it's the size, the big girl. This time, Alexa Gourbet for the Indiana Hoosiers. Right, when Indiana moves the ball from side to side, that's when they get the easy looks. Kentucky has tried to keep the ball on one side, but it's been tough. And that's how Mackenzie Holmes got going, and then Alexa Gourbet, she got that bucket on the backside.
Yeah, Lobo should like this game. We got some good bigs down here. Kentucky started out 4 of 14. Since then, 7 for 10. Shooting 62% in this second quarter.
Oh, there's a 10-second backcourt call. The defense of the Kentucky Wildcats forced the turnover.
Well, their defense has had more of an impact in the second quarter. As we said, Kyra Elzy was going to change things up, and that's kind of the definition of Kentucky basketball is tough defense and turn you over.
What Kentucky changed from was the man-to-man, going to that 1-2-2, bringing traps and causing the turnover.
Berger pushing. Holmes back in the game. She does have 2 fouls, but so does Edwards and Howard for Kentucky, and they're in. Mackenzie Holmes scored the first 11 points of this game.
She's playing with 2 fouls. So Kentucky, how will they try to attack her?
I mean, that's just an open lane to the basket for Allie Packberg.
Indiana starting with the ball on the left side of the floor, make the defense, and all of Kentucky is shifting, and then they're attacking on the right side.
Howard blocked by Gourbet. So if you're Kentucky, how do you counter that? Is it better communication?
You have to, the ball pressure, keep the ball on one side of the floor. You watch, it's one side. Now they're going straight into Gourbet, but they're more open when they get ball reversal. It's tough when they play on one side of the floor.
Robin Benton all the way to the rack.
See how many times Indiana can get ball reversal against a zone. You want to make the defense have to shift. You want to have the defense shift, and you want 2 players to have to guard the basketball. That leaves someone open.
6 seconds on the shot clock. Grace Berger, the extra effort.
That will break your back when you defend for 29.5 seconds and then you allow an offensive rebound.
And that's a foul on Pat Berg.
Pat Berg driving to the basket. You see everybody is overloaded on one side of the floor. It's that backside. And then Grace Berger giving that extra effort, that second effort, getting the offensive boards. Kentucky right now playing what you might say 4 guards on the floor. It's causing Gobey to have the defensive assignment of guarding Ryan Howard.
Cardano Hillary. Pat Berg will take it to the other side of the floor. Gobey short on the layup. Up ahead to Benton. Kentucky loves to push in transition, but they can't finish a layup today.
Indiana is patient. The motion offense, they're going to have an opportunity to get mismatches or use the size advantage. When you look at Holmes and Gobey,
Or Grace Berger.
well, because you have to respect the face-up game of the 2 posts. You pull them away, that opens up the lane.
Berger with 7 points. Under a minute to go in the half. A rematch of last year's epic battle. Kentucky trailed by 14 in the 4th quarter before they beat Indiana.
Watch Berger just go off the bounce and get deep in the paint. Paint points is what Indiana is looking for, because Indiana's not a great 3-point shooting team. So they're looking to get those short jumpers and easy bites of the paint.
They've got 20 points in the paint tonight. Shot clock still working for Kentucky, 10 seconds on it. And Howard goes up and draws the foul. That's on Alexa Gulbey, her second. And it's going to put Ryan Howard at the free throw line. Kentucky has struggled at the free throw line early on in the season. Their last game, only 57% from the charity stripe.
Terry Moore gambling. Mackenzie Holmes, she's on the floor now. With only 23 seconds left, Holmes has 2 fouls.
Would you take her out?
I would. She just put her back in. I know Holmes is a threat offensively, but you're going to need her down the stretch, because you know Kentucky's going to come at you like they did last year in Lexington.
And foul trouble may be an issue for both teams. Dre Edwards will get subbed out. She has 2 fouls for Kentucky. They can't afford for her to get a third. They don't have much depth in the post. And that's a foul on Emma King.
Personal foul, Kentucky, number 34, Emma King. Her first personal, the team's fifth. Both teams with double bonus on top of foul.
Yeah, that's a good move.
Yeah, they're going to sub her out.
Bring her out. Good move for Terry Moore, and she put Mackenzie Holmes in offensively.
Yes.
Holmes had to be smart and then defensively take her off the floor.
Grace Berger at the free throw line was a 74% shooter from the charity stripe last season. Man, as soon as you said something about Berger, Peck, she lit the fuse.
She said, "Oh, did I hear my name?"
Right. I'm Grace Berger.
The way that you describe Grace Berger, she's a Swiss Army knife. She can do so many different things. She was running the offense early, then got involved in the offense late.
Yeah, all of her points, all 9 of them have come in the second quarter. Kentucky looking for a bucket before the half. Jada Walker, the bucket, and draws the foul by Grace Berger.
I can't say it enough. Jada Walker doesn't play like a freshman. She
Love
has
her.
no fear. You watch the tenacity of with what she goes to the basket, the concentration, the focus, and gets the finish.
And one. Count it. She's got 12 points to lead Kentucky. 3.2 seconds left. Indiana up by 3. Berger trying to get a half-court shot up. Oh, my goodness! Grace Berger at the buzzer.
I thought she took an extra dribble. Did she have enough time? Yes, she did. She got that shot off. It looks good to me.
Grace Berger, she wants fries with that, guys. What a way to go into half. Welcome back to the Big Ten on ESPN. Bloomington, Indiana, snow falling, but basketball heating up inside, and you want big players on a big stage. How about Mackenzie Holmes? 13 points. She scored the first 11 points for Indiana. And then a freshman for Kentucky, Jada Walker, in her first game against a ranked opponent. She's leading Kentucky right now with 12 points. Courtney Lyle, national championship winning head coach Carolyn Peck with you. You look at these two teams, you would think that Indiana has the size advantage in the paint, but paint points, surprising right now.
They're tied 20-20. Indiana does have the size advantage going inside, but you know what? Kentucky put freshman Jada Walker in the game, and she just took off. She was attacking the basket. This freshman, look, she was ranked 18th best point guard, 87th best overall. Look, numbers don't matter. Right now, she's one of the best point guards on the floor here in Bloomington.
Yeah, she's made an impact. Grace Berger for Indiana made an impact late with 12 points in the second quarter. She has scored their last 9 points, including a half-court shot at the buzzer.
Rebecca Lobo talked about the size of Indiana and Mackenzie Holmes. Will Indiana try to go back to that, going to their bigs down low?
It worked early, and it got Kentucky in some foul trouble. Howard loses the ball. Dre Edwards, the pickup, the finish.
Dre Edwards had to spend a lot of time on the bench with 2 fouls in the first half. I think she can be an impact for Kentucky.
He's only played 12 minutes so far. Talking about Dre Edwards, number 44 in blue. Here's Grace Berger. Holmes short on the shot. She hit her first 6 shots today. Howard to the baseline. Something changed for Ryan Howard, too, in that first half.
I was thinking the same thing, and really, I'll get beat down the floor, though, in transition. Indiana's got some run to their game. But Ryan Howard, I think in that first quarter, she was kind of just playing around, seeing what Indiana could do. Then it started clicking in her mind, look, Indiana's playing for real. I got to turn my game up.
Last year, meeting between these two teams, Indiana had a 14-point lead heading into the fourth quarter. Ryan Howard had 22 points in that game, and Kentucky won as Nicole Cardano-Hillary has her first shot attempt and her first points today.
I'm going to say it again. Cardano-Hillary is the all-time leading scorer from George Mason, and she only did that in 3 seasons. This woman can score.
You want her to shoot more?
Absolutely.
Howard in stride for 3, yes.
When you watch Ryan Howard play, she plays so smooth. Sometimes you think she doesn't play hard, but she's just so efficient with her body movement.
Mackenzie Holmes on the spin, and she's fouled by Edwards, and that is her 3rd foul on Dre'Ana Edwards. Well, our Week 10 Monday Night Football matchup is an NFC West rivalry game. The Rams in San Francisco with their new wide receiver, OBJ, to take on the 49ers, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN. And don't forget the Mannings are back again this week on ESPN2 to break down the game from their couches. Special attention paid to the QBs, of course. And who will be their special guest? We'll find out tomorrow. Our coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. Mackenzie Holmes at the free throw line. You see, the Rams acquired Odell Beckham Jr. Everybody was wondering where would he go, and that's big too because they've been dealing with some injuries at wide receiver.
Robert Woods tore his ACL, so timing was good for Beckham.
Von Miller also in the mix now for the Rams. It might be that time.
You looking at your watch?
I just looked. It might be Ryan time.
It's Ryan time.
Kentucky ball. Ryan Howard already has 7 points in this half.
She gets this look in her eye. She recognizes that she has Mackenzie Holmes on her. Just the hard dribble creates space and then knocks down the mid-range jumper.
8 points in the first half, 7 already early on here in the third quarter. And takes it to the basket, and she'll go to the free throw line. Look, there's no secret when you play Kentucky, you've got to do something about Ryan Howard, because when she gets it in her mind that she's going to take over the game, it's pretty dangerous. The 2-time SEC Player of the Year, was also a first-team All-American last season.
Well, and remember, before last season, at the end of her sophomore season, she was not an All-American for the WBCA, and she felt snubbed. She even had it written on her shoe, snubbed, and she was playing like she had something to prove.
She plays everywhere for Kentucky, 1 through 5. Where do you see her on the next level in the WNBA?
I think she can do that as well. 1 through 4. She can handle the point. She can be a shooting guard. She can be a stretch, small forward.
This is what you're talking about, Pack, the shoes.
She put honorable mention on there, something to remind her, because that's where the WBCA had her listed. Snubbed. Ooh. And she wasn't quiet about it. She expressed how disappointed that she was. She felt like she had done enough to earn All-American status.
Robin Benton from the elbow, and you see Howard start to hit. I feel like it's contagious for Kentucky.
Well, and all of these Kentucky players are playing for Ryan Howard. They're also playing for Blair Green, who was injured with the Achilles, but they know that Ryan Howard is their leader. They want her to have a big senior season. In order to get the attention, Kentucky's got to win.
Allie Patberg working on Massengill. Draws the foul in the bucket. That's Indiana's leader.
Allie Patberg is another player here today that can take over a game. 7th year, the maturity. She takes pride in her leadership. And she remembers what happened last season in Lexington. And with Indiana with the lead, she doesn't want to allow this to slip away.
3-point play for Allie Patberg. And what a career she has had. As we said, her 7th season playing college basketball. A couple at Notre Dame, dealt with some injuries, transferred to Indiana, had to sit out a season. They were wondering, how do we list her in the media guide now? Graduate, super senior, 7th year.
Awesome.
And the crowd doesn't like that she draws the foul. That's her second.
When I talked to Terry Warren about Allie Patberg coming back, and I said, 25 in college, and Terry told me, she said, Allie Patberg loves college. She loves the experience that she has on campus. She loves this team. And then Allie told us it left a sour taste in her mouth. When they made it as far as the Elite Eight, she said, you get a taste of it. She wants to get to a Final Four.
Especially with everybody coming back, they know they can do that again. Another chance for Kentucky, and Howard finishes.
Second chance points.
Cardano Hillary in traffic, in trees, draws the foul.
Well, here's what's happening. Everybody for Kentucky, they're going to the glass. Offensive rebounds. Indiana has someone leaking out, running in transition. You see, you've got blue jerseys that are in the paint. But now what does Indiana do? Quick inbound, up the court. They're attacking in transition even after a made basket.
Kentucky, though, in some foul trouble right now. Jada Walker back in the game. Olivia Owens has 3. She's on the bench. Dreana Edwards has 3. She's also on the bench. Nicole Cardano Hillary at the line. 29 points in their season opening win over Butler. She hit 7 threes.
Well, and I think anytime she's got space, Cardano Hillary, like, she can knock down the shot. And look at the hustle play, diving on the floor. But you were talking about the foul trouble for Kentucky. That means right now they're playing 4 guards. The only post, and not really a true post, is Treasure Hunt. That could be a matchup problem for Brown and Goulet.
Massengill.
See, that's the matchup problem because Brown ended up on Jasmine Massengill, and Massengill, if Brown comes out, can take her off the dribble. So that will help Kentucky to accumulate fouls and get into the bonus quickly.
Treasure Hunt for 3. And now she's got to get back. Cardano Hillary.
That was a great look, though, down the floor by Pat Berg.
Grace Berger trying to split that double team, and she does. Grace Berger's got another gear too.
Indiana has an advantage with the bigs on the floor. Matchup problem. Grace Berger takes advantage, going to the basket. They want to stay in control.
We just getting started. We in our prime day.
Howard, 10 points here in the third quarter.
Yeah, she only had 8 in the first half, but it's the third quarter, and in the second half, that's when it's Ryan time. She decides to turn it up. She can get turned up, and that's what she's done. We're only halfway through this third quarter.
Yeah, she was a key piece when these two teams faced off last year. Indiana had a 14-point lead at the start of the fourth quarter. Kentucky was able to outscore the Hoosiers 28-14 in the final 10 minutes. Ryan had 22 points in that game, shooting 50% from the field.
Ryan Howard is just that kind of player. You might even think about going a box of 1, make somebody else beat you, because when you try to play her straight up, I don't know if there's anybody on the floor that can just flat out stop Ryan Howard.
7 seconds on the shot clock for Indiana. They lead 51-46. Grace Berger. That's 16 points for her.
And Berger really has blossomed over the summer, playing for the American Cup, played for Dawn Staley. And she's just come in this season with tons of confidence.
No bucket. They wave it off for Jada Walker.
Just watch the determination that Grace Berger goes to the basket. She gets past Robin Benton, and then just the presence of mind to split the defense and not be called for the charge, going around Ryan Howard.
Grace Berger had 21 points last year in this game, 16 already. Remember, she led the nation last year in triple-doubles with 3. She was the only player to have multiple triple-doubles. She does everything. Up ahead to Pat Berg. Working on Walker. Yes! Allie Pat Berg.
Pat Berg's got to go to work every time Jada Walker is on her because she has the size advantage. Indiana, they pull ahead right now. Allie Pat Berg, 7th year, looking very spry.
From Mawale for the
with 12 points in her 7th season. It didn't take her long to know she wanted to play again.
So after senior night, they did a little something for us on senior night, and it really bothered me, didn't sit well. I was pretty emotional just because I was like, is this really how I want this to end? And so the next day or two, I can't remember exactly, I went up to her office and I asked her if she would allow me to come back for my extra year if I wanted, and she was like, are you sure? I want you to do what's best for you. And I was like, I want to come back, and I just needed to let you know that so I could get this weight off my back. So that's how I told her.
I talked to Terry Morin last night, and she told me that story, had a little different version. She said when Allie Patberg said, can I come back, Terry Morin was thinking, well, yeah.
Yeah, Allie Patberg, an all Big Ten second team selection. She was in the Nancy Lieberman top 10 last year. It's been a huge part, it was a huge part of their run to their very first Elite Eight last season. And that's 4 fouls on Dre Edwards for Kentucky.
It's a bit of a risk for Kyra Elzy to put Dre Edwards back in the game with the 3. Now she has 4. She's got to sit the rest of this third quarter.
Going back to Allie Patberg, such a big part. It's not just her performance on the floor for Indiana, it's off the court too. She got them to study in the same rooms. They're always working in Cook Hall now. The team is always hanging out there, and that comes from Allie Patberg, who also has her name in the record books at Indiana.
You look at that, she has scored over 1,386 points. And just a tremendous leader. I love talking to her because when the team hasn't had success, the first thing she says is, I'm accountable for that. I take that on because I am the leader of this team. There's no pointing fingers in any other direction but to her chest.
And specifically with this meeting Kentucky last year, she went back and watched the game before this game and said, I was mad at myself because we lost our cool a little bit, and that's on me, leadership-wise. Up to Patberg. Cardano Hillary. Boom! Largest lead for Indiana. Okay. All right, Jada Walker.
Jada Walker has no fear. If you want to quiet a crowd, you got a freshman that can do it.
But it's tough right now. Kentucky on the other end is in foul trouble. Indiana can dominate inside. So they're assessing a double technical foul. They give one to Jasmine Massengill for Kentucky and one for Allie Patberg of Indiana.
You saw on the inbound, Patberg was turning to go the other direction. Jasmine Massengill was standing there. They ran into each other.
So Felicia Grenner is one of the officials working. She comes over. Double technicals for taunting. We told you Massengill and then also Allie Patberg.
Little jawing, little chippy. You think this game means something to
It's a top
these two teams?
15 matchup, Peck.
It's a border game as well. Kentucky, Indiana.
Up ahead to Holmes. Foul by Owens. That's her 4th. That's Owens and Edwards with 4 fouls, and Mackenzie Holmes' brother Cam watching on. He's a member of the practice squad. They decided to come to Indiana together.
Well, he came with her on her visit to Indiana. He said, I like it, you like it, let's both come.
Yeah, and they did. We saw him working hard in practice. She has to go against him every day. He's on the scout team. It's so cool to look back on photos of this was their visit to Indiana for the first time. They said, hey, let's both come.
I'm close with my brother, so I can just understand the value. She is from Maine, so to have family on campus with you is huge.
But you got to battle him every day in the paint. You want to battle your brother in the paint every day?
Well, especially when he's got to be 6'5", 6'7". That's made her the player that she is.
Mackenzie Holmes, 23 points. Robin Benton right under the bucket. Holmes only had 11 points in their opening game against Butler. Cardano Hillary, just short.
Called that foul on Ryan Howard.
That's the 3rd on Howard. What do you do if you're Kentucky? I mean, you have so many players in foul trouble right now. Owens has 4, Edwards has 4, Massengill has 4, Howard has 3.
Well, you got to go back to what was beneficial for Kentucky in the second quarter was that 1-2-2 3-quarter press. Because then you're not playing one-on-one defense. You're taking away the drive. You're bringing 2 people in. You just have to rotate and keep the ball on one side of the floor. But that was a foul coming back in transition. You got to be smart. You got to recognize when you don't have the basketball, you've got to get back.
Indiana led by 6 at the half. Cardano Hillary will pull this out and restart.
Well, it's smart for Indiana, too. Knowing the foul trouble, what are they doing? They're attacking the basket.
Berger, in and out. Kentucky can take the last shot of the quarter if they want to. Time winding down for Howard, over to Treasure Hunt. And Indiana's defense gets a stop before the buzzer sounds. When we come back, a small piece of net that means so much more in the women's game. Well, it started with a small piece of the net exchanged from Carolyn Peck from her championship net to Dawn Staley. And now Dawn Staley has passed that along to over 70 black female head coaches have received a piece of Dawn Staley's net. And Carolyn, what made you want to give a piece of your championship net to Dawn?
Well, what I saw in Dawn was how she connected with the players and how she was able to get the most out of them. Dawn coaches like the point guard she was. She puts her players in the position that they can best to be successful, and their players have fun along the way. And so in watching that and calling South Carolina games, I just saw that she had what it looked like, what it took to win a national championship, and that's what made me make the decision to take a piece of this net that I was able to bring here today and give to Dawn Staley. She took it to another level. And now she's passed it out to over 70 coaches, African-American black coaches that are coaching right now. And look, it's not a lucky charm.
Right.
It's motivation and it's showing support. to a group of women that didn't initially, when it got into this sport, were getting that motivation as they becoming more popular, more opportunities as being head coaches.
And we've got a piece of that net. You brought your net here, Carolyn, with you today. So cool. That's the net that the piece came to Dawn Staley off of this championship net.
Is this it? There we go.
There you go.
That's it. Now, I only got, there's one that is at Purdue, and they may come find me because I kept the other one. This was all that was left. The players cut their pieces, but I have this, and I have traveled it. It's gone everywhere with me since I've been in Indiana until I get back home and put it back in its safekeeping place. It means the world to me. But let me tell you, winning a national championship is not just about winning a ball game.
Yeah.
What it is helping young women be in a position to accomplish something, a goal that they've set their mind to, and that can be a model for them for the rest of their lives to apply in so many different things. Your championship can be what you set your goal to. It's not just the final score.
This has already been an outstanding basketball game between Kentucky and Indiana. Dre Edwards puts up the shot. Kentucky with several opportunities. Indiana led by 6 points at the break. They were able to extend that in the third quarter. Kentucky's in some foul trouble too. That's helped the Hoosiers.
Well, it's going to be a matter. This game's going to be decided the free throw line and also on the glass.
Grace Berger just picked up her third foul. It sends Treasure Hunt to the line.
Indiana right now winning the battle on the boards 30-27 over Kentucky.
And Kentucky's only shooting 67% from the free throw line. Skip pass over to Golbey. And Mackenzie Holmes travel. Well, college basketball continues Tuesday night with two compelling early season games here on ESPN at 8 p.m. Virginia and Houston face off. And then at 10 p.m. we head west for the Phil Knight Classic in Portland, BYU and Oregon. Both games also available on the ESPN app. This is the second of two top 25 games of the day. We've already seen an upset. Texas took down the defending national champs Stanford earlier today, 61-56, behind 21 points from Rory Harmon, the freshman.
Vic Schaefer just reloads at Texas.
Cardania Hillary.
Cardania Hillary, she's just picked up where she left off at Butler.
She forgot it a little bit in the first half, but she didn't attempt a shot.
Well, she's not supposed to. I mean, she is a point guard, and what Terry Morin wants her to do is distribute the basketball. And she said, look, I'll do whatever the team needs me to do, and if Kentucky's going to leave me open, then I'm going to pull the trigger and knock it down. Indiana last year struggled from the three-point line, shot 31%. So when you have Cardania Hillary with the ability to shoot the three, it can open things up for the post play of Indiana.
Golbey, a couple of bounces and it rolls. And Kentucky wants to take a timeout. It's a 72-56 lead for Indiana right now. The number 8 team in the nation looking for a ranked win at home. Mackenzie Holmes started this game off with a bang, and now she's got 23 points.
She started early, going inside, moving the ball for Indiana. Their big girl was paying it off. Wasn't just the inside. She also got it done outside and running the floor in transition. She has come out tonight with trying to set the reset button. She wasn't pleased with her play at Butler. She's got to be pleased with her performance so far today.
Yeah, I'd say so. 11 points against Butler, 23 points tonight. She was an AP All-American honorable mention. You like how they use her and how versatile. I mean, we saw her knock down a three.
Well, there's one thing with the way the coach uses her. The other thing is the accountability of how the player, Mackenzie Holmes, got herself ready for this moment.
Right, yeah.
She has been even more committed in the weight room and her conditioning, also with her nutrition, because she wants to be able to last full speed, to be able to go 30-plus minutes a night.
And that was one of the things they realized in that loss to Arizona in the Elite Eight. They needed that depth, that stamina for these players. Allie Patberg just picked up her 4th foul and takes his seat for Indiana. Dre'Una Edwards with the 3. Kentucky got itself into some foul trouble. Edwards is one of 3 players with 4 fouls. And it's really helped Indiana pull ahead here in the 4th quarter.
With Edwards with 4 fouls, Kentucky still choosing to be in this man-to-man. They have to. Otherwise, Indiana's going to be able just to use a full shot clock.
8 seconds for Cardano Hillary, the 2, yeah! That's 12.
I think she's got a few more to go.
Jada Walker, she's been impressive.
She's very impressive. You know, Kentucky went to Fort Campbell this preseason, and Kyra Elzy said what emerged from that is the leader that she has in freshman Jada Walker.
Yeah, they did a lot of team building activities, and Jada Walker shone through. Or McNeil under the basket. Yeah, the players didn't know what they were in for. When they got on the bus, the coaching staff took their cell phones, and they were prepared. They were not prepared for some hard work, carrying heavy loads, obstacle courses, carrying teammates, but it taught them how far they will go for each other.
Well, and the coaches were involved in that as well. You saw Kyra Elzy and Coach Gail Guest, of course, new to the staff this season, but they were all in with the players as well, going through it so the players could see, the coaches could feel what they were going through, and I think that that really helps with team bonding.
And Kyra Elzy, just her 2nd season, the first full season as head coach. She started as the interim last season. She's been with her assistants, Nia Butts and Amber Smith, for a long time. Added Gail Guest-Course. What a coaching veteran to bring onto your staff.
I played against Gail Guest-Course in the national championship game in 1999. Gail's a winner now. She knows the game. Just wonder if Kentucky has enough gas in the tank to make a run in these last 5 minutes.
Up ahead to Jasmine Massengill. Walker. That may be a question for Kentucky all season, Carolyn, because they don't have a ton of depth. They are out. Blair Green, she's out for the season with an Achilles injury. Nia Leveretter is out for an undisclosed period of time due to a non-COVID illness. They've got a really short bench.
Well, I think that the emphasis is going to be on you've got to play without fouling. You know, you're not going to get any more players through this season, so you've got to play smart. The ones that you have got to stay on the court.
Up ahead to Holmes, and on the other side, you can tell Indiana's got the chemistry. 27 points for Mackenzie Holmes. That ties her career high. Mackenzie Holmes, 27. She's 10 of 13 from the field.
She's a veteran. She is very comfortable back with her starting teammates.
12th game of her career with 20 or more points. This ties her career high. Perfect from the free throw line as well, helping Indiana pull ahead and stay there on number 13, Kentucky.
What's been so impressive about Mackenzie Holmes is how she is moving around the court. She can play just about anywhere and then running in transition.
8 seconds on the shot clock. Patberg has to fight Holmes for the rebound. Goulet on the backboard. Backboard shot for Goulet. And Ryan Howard has paused, holding her mouth. They're going to go back and look at this play to see if there was anything else extra. Watch Howard at the elbow at the bottom of your screen.
That was incidental contact.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Holmes was just heading the other direction. She was watching to see how the play was going to finish and didn't recognize that Ryan Howard was standing there and had the collision.
We were talking about the experience of this Indiana team. They return all 5 starters. They felt like they had something left after that Elite 8 run, the first time for Indiana in program history. And they're one of a handful of teams in the top 10 of the AP poll that return all 5 starters. South Carolina, Maryland, NC State, and Iowa, the others. But, I mean, that's great for Teri Moore, and there's so many things you can skip because you've got veterans. You've got players that know what's expected.
You have veterans. You have, like you said, know what to expect. And also, there's a hunger.
Yeah.
Because they've gotten a taste of it. Everybody, you know, Stanford won the national championship, but everybody else fell short. And when you've got all those starters coming back, they know where they fell short. They know where they could do a little bit more. And so that makes them even more focused when they come into practice, when they come into games each day.
Second foul called on Jada Walker. It gives Indiana the basketball. 3:23 left. Indiana has won 15 straight home openers. Trying to extend that today.
I thought that was good.
Yeah, this place was going to explode. Howard shots in and out.
We talked about the 5 starters for Indiana coming back, and Ali Patberg said they talked about last year's game as a team.
Offensive foul on Berger. Her 4th. Yeah, they hadn't forgotten how they fell apart in the 4th quarter against Kentucky last year.
I think when you can address your shortcomings open and honestly and take some accountability, you come in with a new focus when you have a chance to seek some revenge.
And Ali Patberg told us that's something that they could do last season. When they had an issue and they lost a game, they had open conversations, and they saw how valuable that was. As Mackenzie Holmes has a new career high, 29.
And Teri Moore loves this team. She could not say that enough. I talked to her for about 45 minutes, and that came, and she goes, Carolyn, I'm sorry, but I just have to tell you, I just love this team.
Yeah.
I love being around them. They love each other. They're committed. They're gym rats. They hang out with each other. They're a really close-knit team and very talented.
Judy, had a team that's that close, does it make a difference on the court?
Absolutely. You know, when I had Ukari Figs, Katie Douglas, Stephanie White, Camille Cooper, and Michelle Duhart, that 5 starters, those were my starters from '98 that helped me in '99 to go win that national championship.
Massengill's second chance in the paint for Kentucky. Minute 20 to go.
The clean game that Indiana plays too. Don't see a lot of careless turnovers. They know where each other are going to be.
Ryan Howard called for the foul. That's her 4th.
I asked Terry Morin, how have you gotten better, your team, from this year, from last year to this year? And she said, well, I'm going to go back and start with the Butler game. She didn't feel like her team played great defensively.
You hear the applause. Mackenzie Holmes going to the bench. Cardano Hillary.
Very well deserved, but these are players now that can go to the bench, and going back to the bench, the depth that Indiana has. You know, last season had 3 players that played over 30 minutes, 2 that played 27 plus. Keandra Brown was playing with a hurt hip. Moore McNeil getting the experience, her legs under her, but having that depth is going to help Indiana go even further, I feel, this season.
Fans on their feet again for Alexa Gulbe and, of course, Grace Berger. Berger with 19, Gulbe with 8. 4 players in double figures today for Indiana, led by a career-high 29 points from Mackenzie Holmes.
And what a performance Indiana has put on in front of this crowd. I mean, this is their home opener, and you want to have a good showing first day out. Well, you want these fans to come back. They've given them a reason to come back.
Caitlin Peterson will come get the basketball. Indiana does have a tough road ahead. This is just their 2nd game of the season. Not that it was easy, a top 15 opponent. Stanford is coming up, NC State is coming up, and then of course they get into Big Ten play where they'll face Maryland, Iowa, Michigan, Ohio State, just to name a few.
It's no easy road for Indiana, but that's what Terry Morin wants. She wants her team to be challenged because she knows how tough the Big Ten is going to be.
And Ryan Howard checks out for Kentucky. 8 points in the first half. Howard finishes with 23 today on 9 of 18 shooting, 9 rebounds, 2 assists for Howard.
You can see, yeah, this means a lot, a senior, and especially when you're playing against, this is a rivalry between Indiana and Kentucky, and with how they were able to pull it out last season, Indiana was not going to let this one slip away today.
The streak continues for Indiana. 16 straight home opening wins for the Hoosiers. 29 points for Mackenzie Holmes, a career high, as they had number 13 Kentucky its first loss.
And they did it, really, even after Kentucky tried to make their run. Indiana remembered last year.